All right. Just getting started, everyone. Bear with me as I work out all the tech. All right. All right. Let's get started. Welcome, my friend. I see you there. Okay. So, beautiful beings, welcome to a live podcast recording. So excited to share this with you today. I'm just getting set up, streaming on a couple different places. So bear with me here for a second. If you are joining on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, please leave your comments as I move throughout the show today down below. And I'm going to try and read them out as I go. And beautiful. All right. All right, let's get started. So starting recording in all right, starting recording in 3, 2, and 1. Good evening, morning, afternoon, beautiful beings. Welcome back to another episode of the show and another loving solo-sode today, another deep dive into a topic that I know is going to bring you a lot of loving value, a lot of insight, a lot of mystical exploration into something that I know is going to help you shift some deeper understandings in your world. Today's topic is the unified field of love, or the unified field and your love frequency. For people popping in on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and YouTube, this solo-sode is going to be extra interactive today. I'm going to be sharing some teachings and some understandings here. But at any point, if a question comes up, if you have any comments on your heart, please leave it down below, and I'd love to speak to them as they arise. For people new to the show, if you're listening to this on the podcast recording, a way that you can help me expand the frequency of this discussion, as always, is by sharing this out to your friends, your family members, your lovers. You can also head over to Spotify and Apple and leave your feedback and reviews over there. And that helps me expand the show and get my message out there into the world. Trying something new today on the show, as I've mentioned, I'm going live into the Facebook group, on LinkedIn and YouTube. So I welcome you. Thank you for joining me. And I hope this new test of this dynamic within the show brings you some extra value. So with all of that today, I want to give an overview of what I'm going to be talking about. So the unified field of love and the unified field and your love frequency is the theme. I'm going to be discussing 25 qualities of the unified field and how you can embody these, how these connect to the love frequency that you are. Why is this important? What are my views on this? What is my experience of this? And how can you connect into this field of love to help you heal, to help you expand your relationships, and help you connect deeper into the spiritual being that you are? So that's what I'm going to get into today, and I'm excited to share it with you. And I'm just checking in on the Facebook chat. Welcome, Carla, my friend. I see you there. Again, if you have comments in the lives today, please pop them down below and I'm going to try and read them out and answer them as I go. So before I get into the first characteristic and quality of a unified field, I want to read out a beautiful review, as I always do here in the Solo Soch. And this is from a member of the community, much like all of you. This is from the lovely Soul Insight. Beautiful podcast with a beautiful host. If you are a spiritual seeker interested in deeper inquiry, this is the podcast for you. Harrison asks important, thought-provoking questions, and his topics and guests are fascinating. This is a super high vibe podcast that will fill your heart. Thank you, my friend. And again, if you're tuning in and you'd love to leave your feedback, you can do that over on Apple and Spotify. All right. So with all of that preamble, let's get into the bulk of this discussion today. And before I break down the first of the 25 qualities of the unified field, I want to really expand why this is even important. I want to share a quote to start this conversation. And the quote is from the beautiful Rumi. And many of you may know this already, may be familiar with this quote. And the quote is, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." That field is not just the unified field, but it is the divine field of love that we are all inextricably linked to and made of. This is your love frequency. This is what moves in you, through you, and up out of you. This is your divinity. This is your godliness. This is how you, as the unique expression, steps forward to express yourself. The qualities that I'm going to be speaking about today are how we can intentionally and mindfully in any given moment allow that unified field to move through us. It's also how we start to move beyond fear and ego, pain, separation, and tension across our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. It's how we reach our goals, both in relationships, both in our healing, and also within our spiritual awakening. So this is why all of this is important. And this is why I'm really excited to share these qualities with you today. So with that, I want to give you a resource that these qualities are from. So these qualities were inspired by a powerful book that I would encourage you all to read. And it is called Creating Affluence by Mr. Deepak Chopra, Creating Affluence. And the qualities I'm going to be speaking about today, I'm only going to be speaking about the first 12, and I'm going to do a part 2 to this chat because there's a lot of them. There's 25. I'd encourage you to read that book for an extra insight. And today I'm going to be sharing my perspectives, my views, and my love on top of the qualities that he espouses. Okay. So with that, let's get into the first one. Again, if you're tuning in on Facebook, on YouTube, or LinkedIn, as I go deeper into these qualities, I'd love to hear your perspectives and comments and thoughts. So leave them in the comments and I'll read some of them out as we go. Okay, so the first quality of the unified field of love that you are is the unified field is one of total potential and natural law. It contains all the laws of nature, gravity, electromagnetism, and it is a field of intelligence. So in many ways, what this is already saying is that you are a divine loving force of nature. You are the microcosm of the macrocosm. Everything that you see outside of you, that is the natural world, the flows, the peaks, the troughs, the frequency that you feel, ask yourself, how do you feel that? Why does that move through you? Why do you pick up on it? One of the reasons is because that which you see outside is also inside. Another way of saying this is you are made of stardust. You are made of the universe. You are made of that potential. So as we go into this chat, don't believe the words that I'm saying. Feel them, right? Feel them in your body. They'll resonate. The second quality here of the unified field of love that you are is infinite organizing power. And another way of saying, there is a force inside of you that is moving and connecting everything at the same time. The human body, everything inside of you is working simultaneously, correlating together. Another way of saying this is that you are a dynamic system of systems that is moving throughout time and space, integrated together. So not just total potential, like the first law, but infinite organizing power, everything working together. Think about what your body is doing right now, listening to my words. Right? You're listening, you're feeling, you're thinking, you're sensing, you're observing. You're feeling the space in between the words, all happening in one movement while everything else is going on in your body. So when we can be mindful of this, and Isabel, I see you in the comments, my friend. Thank you for popping in. When we can be mindful of this correlating power, stepping forward, it's very hard to forget what we are. Quality number 3 of the unified field of love that you are is you are fully awake within itself. The unified field is fully awake within itself. You are pure awareness. You are lively, non-dormant, and awake. So another way of saying this is the observer effect. All of us can practice right now, just by listening to these words, we can practice being the observer. We can practice being the mindful awareness. This is important in relation to your healing journey, right? Remember, a big part of this conversation today is coming back to your healing. This is important because it shows us the potential around just observing. If the unified field of love, one of its main qualities is this mindfulness, then we have to ask, what does this mindfulness allow us to do? I'll share a quote here that really takes this home. The act of observation is an act of creation unto itself. So what this means is by purely observing a state of dis-ease or a state of tension within the body makes a new reality. Connects you into that unified field of love that you stem from, and helps you shift, right? Let's get super practical with this. What does this look like? So let's say that you feel grief in your chest, or you feel a sinking feeling in your stomach. By purely holding space for yourself and observing that feeling lovingly as what? The unified field of love that you are, what happens usually? It starts to move. Maybe you express, maybe something shifts inside of you to another space. This is that observer effect in action. So I share this just for all of you listening. Never underestimate the power that you have to connect to this observer effect and this quality of the unified field of love. Let's keep it moving. I see people popping in over on Facebook and YouTube. If you have any comments when you move through this chat, please pop it down below. I'd love to hear them. The fourth quality of the unified field of love that you are is infinite correlation. What this means is we're not just, and I love this point. There's so much coming up around it. We're not just connected internally, like I spoke about before in terms of the organizing power. We're also infinitely connected externally. We are connected, you and I. Everything outside of me, as I've already stated, is a beautiful reflection. So if everything internally is synergistically linked, so is everything outside of me. What does this mean? Us as human beings, we live in a holographic universe. So there is no distance. Not only are we connected, but there is no distance in our connection. Many of you listening to my voice, you can feel the words that I express. What is the reason for that? The reason for that is because it doesn't matter that you are on the other side of the world. There is no time and space within this correlation of the unified field. When you're looking to manifest love, okay, coming back to one of the other goals here of the unified field, when you're looking to bring in a new relationship, the moment that you feel it in your body is the same moment it is true. Because if we live in this infinite correlation or this holographic universe, it means the moment you feel it, it exists. So this is why when I speak about manifestation, and for people new to the show, I'll put in the show notes my manifestation episodes where I talk about this in more depth. But this is why when we're looking to attract people into our world, we first need to feel it to be true inside of us, because now we start to bring them in. And the way that this works is through this characteristic of the unified field, is through the infinite correlation. And it's probably one of the most common cliche things to say within the spiritual community, but it could not be more true. It shows that there really is no time and space, that illusion is probably the biggest of all. Next up here, number 5 is perfect orderliness. And I make a little asterisk here, perfect orderliness even in the chaos. Everything on purpose and for a reason. Within the unified field of love that you are, again, remembering all of these are traits that you can embody. So when you step forward into your day today, ask yourself, am I accepting, am I embracing this perfect orderliness? So what does this mean? This means, another way of saying this is everything is happening for you. Even when, especially when it doesn't appear so, especially when there is so much chaos and specifically pain outside of you. Even the pain, which seems like we can easily put on the victim mask around, right? I'm often there, catch myself there. Even that pain has an order. Even that pain has a purpose. Welcome, Danelle. I see you in the chat, my friend. So what this points out is, I'll share another quote here to really explain, to expand this concept, to expand this characteristic of the unified field of love. This quote is from the powerful Tom Knowles. He's a Vedic teacher. Tom Knowles says, "There's no such thing as luck. There's only well-deserved, self-created good fortune." Well-deserved, self-created good fortune. What is that well-deserved, self-created good fortune? Well, it is you seeing that everything is happening for you in a universe that is in perfect order. And you've stepped into that. You've tuned into the unified field of love, or the love frequency that you are, and started to play the game. Quality number 6 here of the unified field of love: infinite dynamism, or infinite dynamic possibility, fluid and flexible. Probably one of the ones that stands out most for me. You are a being of change. The soul expression that you are and the field that you come from is one of change, is one of fluidity. You are not just moving through this field, you are moving and shifting and flowing. It is when we resist that flow, it is when we fall under the belief that it doesn't exist or it's not there, that is when pain and dis-ease comes up. What is dis-ease? Dis-ease. We're moving away from the ease or the flow of what we are. Another component to add to this, the infinite dynamism, is we're not just always changing and shifting and flowing. We're always moving towards the greatest evolution or good of the moment. Right? We're not just here to change, we're here to change progressively. We're here to expand. This is one of your infinite states, your fundamental states. The soul expression that you are isn't here to be stable. It's here to change, and change as an interconnected part of an ever-expanding collective. That is your baseline state. So when we move against that, that is when we cause challenge. Right? And as the Buddha says, the only law of the universe that is real and true is the one of change. And that is really what this characteristic is pointing out. So as you're tuning in to this chat, ask yourself, as you step forward in your day again, are you embodying these characteristics? Because if you can embody these characteristics, then you start to shift, then you start to create the reality that you want. All right, let's keep moving. 7, number 7 here, the 7th characteristic of the unified field of love that you are abundantly made of. The 7th component is you are made of infinite creativity. This is a big one for myself, and I can feel a lot of you listening, because maybe you can relate to growing up in a world where maybe you were told that you were not creative. Maybe you were told that only certain people have that creative ability, that only certain people can sing or dance or make artistic creations. When in reality, all those things that I just outlined, those are just the symptoms. Those are the symptoms of the infinite creativity that you are made of. You are made of creation energy. This unified field of love that you are birthed from is made of creation energy. So that which the field is also that which you are. So if you move throughout your day and you feel like you are not creative, dear soul, that is an illusion. The expression of it, the singing, the dancing, the artwork, the speaking, whatever it is, that's secondary. What is more important is you connecting into the innate state of creativity that you are already. It's interesting. All of us are creating all the time, but most of us are creating things that we don't want. We're creating from our shadows, right? We're creating from our limiting beliefs. We're creating from our pain that we've left unprocessed. So the question to ask yourself is not if I'm creative. The question to ask yourself is, can I shift my creation energy into something more supportive for me? So that's a big one right there. I know you are creation energy. I just want to do a quick little reset for all the people popping in live on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, testing out something new here with the podcast today, doing a live recording and going live into these groups. So if you're listening, getting value, I love it. If you have any comments or questions, please pop them in and I'll speak to them where I can. And worst case scenario, I'll look back at them at the end of the recording and reply. All right, let's keep going. So number 8 here with your unified field of love. And just another quick reminder, tune into these characteristics. These characteristics are you. So when you step out into your beautiful day, how can you embody these traits? Right? When you embody these traits, you bring in and you activate this field of love that you are. Right? That is the point. All right. So the next trait is number 8, and it is pure knowledge. Everything that exists, everything that was, is, and will be is inside of you. Right? Another way to say this, if you're in the spiritual community, you've probably heard it before. All the answers are within. All of your knowing is not outside of you. Yes, there will always be people, professionals, practitioners, educators, teachers that you can go to that will seemingly give you something, give you some knowledge. But let me ask you, did they give you this knowledge? Or, because I know this has been my experience, were those people helping you remember something that has been there the whole time? Welcome, Suzanne. I see you in that, dropping in. This is the piece here. The unified field of love that you are made of is one of pure knowledge. Another example of this is why past lives bring us back to tools and teachings that we've embodied before. If you've done any kind of past life regression work, if you've done any kind of deep journeying into the lives that you've lived, you're tapping into this pure knowledge. You're tapping into the things that you've lived already that come through you. So, Danelle, I see your comment, right? And this connects to what I'm saying here. You're asking, Why do I keep having this desire to learn and lean more into my spirituality? This is why. This is one of the reasons. Because to be spiritual, let me give a definition of how I define spirituality. Spirituality is connecting to a larger whole. Spirituality is connecting to a larger meaning. Spirituality is connecting to something bigger than the ego self. So when you ask, why do I have the desire for this? Because it's intrinsic. It's part of this pure knowledge that you are, this deeper inner knowing that is inside of you, that is waiting to be birthed. This is why, just personally, just to share some of my own sort of experiences with this is why this is a big part of my soul path, to speak about spiritual lessons and teachings and tools and all of it. It's because it's so fundamental for us as a human, as a spiritual being having a human experience. But I would assert, in relation to this trait of the unified field of love, we all have this inner knowledge. Let me give one more example here. You're welcome, Danelle. Happy it helped. Let me give one more example here with this pure knowledge that you're made of. If anyone has worked with the Akashic records, what is that? What is the Akashic records? Right? The Akashic records is the storehouse of information and knowledge that we can all access. Right? It's not a Harrison thing. It's not a certain practitioner has a special ability that they can access that you can't. No, we all have access to the Akashic records. Yes, you have to learn how to get there, but the Akashic records are another example of this pure knowledge that the unified field of love is made of, that you have inside of you. So again, how can you embody this today? How can you step forward with this today in your relationships, in your healing journey? Next up, getting heated up. I love it. Next trait here of the unified field of love is number 9, unboundedness. Another one of my favorite ones, unboundedness. So what this means is that not just that you are powerful, and we talked about that earlier, right? You have infinite potential and infinite organizing power, but that infinite power and infinite organization is unbounded in its restriction. So another way of saying this is that there is no time and space in which your potential can expand into. There is no barriers. You, as the soul that you are, as the pure love that you are eternal. Just feel that for a moment. The presence, the divine presence, this is where we start to connect now, the unified field, to the divinity that you are, the godliness that you are. I'll share another quote here from Mr. Deepak Chopra. And the quote is, "Deep inside each of us is a God in embryo. It has only one desire. It wants to be born." And that quote connects beautifully to this unbounded characteristic of the unified field. The last little element that I want to add to this trait is you connect to this unboundedness because there is no time and space with it. The only way to connect to it is in the now, is in this present moment. So this is why it's so important when we are stuck in the past or we are projecting into the future. This is why we don't feel like we're in our power. It's because our divinity, our unboundedness doesn't exist in the past or the present, because those are illusions to it. So again, this is why it's so important not just to become mindful, but become mindful of where you are right now in this moment. That not only are you worthy and enough in this moment, but you are divine. You are eternal, beyond all measure. Number 10, for people just popping in to the live streams, I encourage you, and as you're listening to the podcast episode, I encourage you, don't just listen to these words that I'm saying. Keep asking yourself, how can I embody these things in my day? This is why this is connected to your love frequency. These are all traits of you. It's not just Harrison speaking about Harrison. This is you. Don't take my word for it. How can you step forward through these traits? The next characteristic here, number 10, is perfect balance. The unified field of love has the characteristic of perfect balance. So what this means, another way of saying this from my experience, this is your yin and your yang. Or another way of saying it again, this is your divine twin flame that exists inside of you, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. This is not a gender. This is not a physical trait. This is the two energies that need to be balanced inside of the spiritual being that you are. If you're looking to connect to your unified field potential, we must balance and come back to this trait. Let's get super practical with this, because this is probably, out of all of the traits, this is the one that you can be most practical with. What does this look like? Right? This looks like checking in throughout your day, throughout your moment by moment expression. Am I too much in the doing? Am I too much in the masculine? Most of us are, myself included. Or am I too much in the non-doing? Am I too much in the feminine? Am I too much in the stillness, in the quietness? That too is imbalance. This is your twin flame. This is the two energies that need to be monitored. If we're pushing all the time, then the divine feminine is not getting its voice, its balance met. If we're not doing enough, if we're not taking any inspired action with the creation energy that moves through us, with the infinite creativity, right? We've already talked about that as one of your other characteristics. If you're feeling the creativity in you, but you're never taking action on it, you're never, creating the thing, you're never booking that meeting, you're never taking that action to meet with that person, then now the yin is over, is too much, and the yang is unbalanced. This is so important, because this is what we can look for. This is what we can look for in any given moment. Suzanne, reading your comment, my hair goes through static when I'm not balanced. I love it. Yes, our body speaks to us. Right? Our body speaks to us with all of these traits that I've spoken about today, but specifically this one, right? With this yin and yang. I want to express something else here to really understand the spiritual view of this, of the masculine, the feminine here. I grew up, as I've shared with many of you tuning into the show on other episodes, I grew up in a religious culture and context, and I learned about the Holy Trinity. And I always thought it was the thing outside of us, the mother, the father, the son, right? All the things. But in reality, not only is God inside of us, but so is this Holy Trinity. What is the Holy Trinity? The Holy Trinity is the heart of God that's inside of us that has this twin flame, right? So the heart of God that is us right? This heart of God is also this unified field that we've been speaking about this whole time, right? It is your love frequency, just another name. The heart of God has two sides, has the what? The masculine and the feminine, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. This is the Holy Trinity that we can move through. If we have balance, right? As Suzanne says, if you listen to that static and you have that balance between the masculine and the feminine, then you are in alignment. This is where you start creating the beautiful reality that you deserve. All right, 2 more here today to speak about. Number 11, and this one's so important. They're all important, but this one, another big one here. Number 11, the 11th trait of the unified field of love that you are is self-sufficient. All is in it. Self-sufficient. All is in it. So what this means is, another way of saying this, all of your power, all of your, talked about creation energy, we've talked about potential, we've talked about possibilities, all of these things are inside of you, right? This does not mean that we can't turn to people, we can't ask for support, we can't seek guidance. But what it does mean is that all of these external teachers, all they will ever be doing is helping us what? Walk back home to our inner space of sufficiency, our inner space of love, our inner space of power. I just speak from my experience. That is all I'm ever doing. When I guide, support, coach, mentor individual souls, I often refer to it as the divine mirror of love. I am only ever showing and shining my divine mirror to help you see, and most importantly, feel and embody this self-sufficient characteristic. If at any point in your journey you feel like there is something outside of you that is taking your power away, a person, place, or thing, I say this with compassion and I say this with love, that is an illusion. And not just an illusion, there is something that you are most likely unconsciously doing that is giving this power away. So we can flip this. This is empowering because this means there is something that you can do to take that back, to take that power back in regards to a relationship, in regards to your healing, in regards to your spiritual growth. Because your characteristic here is one of self-sufficiency. So if you don't feel self-sufficient, then you're not in your baseline state. I hope that one hits home because it's a big one, like I said, for me. And number 12 here, and then we're going to put a pause and go into part 2 next week. But number 12 here of the unified field of love that you are, the 12th characteristic is all possibilities. Everything is possible. So going back to a previous trait, you don't just have infinite creative ability, you have infinite imaginative creative ability. Anything that you can imagine is real. There is nothing that you can dream of that is not possible in this unified field of love that you are expressed from. Right. And this is for me, and maybe some of you can relate to this, this has the most limiting beliefs around it. Because much like creativity, we're told in our education system, in our childhoods, in our families, in our religious groups and ideologies, we're told the opposite of this. We're told that our possibilities are limited in all the ways, by our gender, by our culture, by our skin color, by our all the things, insert here. But again, beautiful being, I'm here to tell you that that is not the truest expression of the state you are born from. Another analogy and image to share with you to help you understand this is the frog in the well knows nothing of the ocean. Most of us are that frog in the well. What is the well? The well are the belief systems that we have either consciously or unconsciously subscribed to, and we stick within, we stay within. But in reality, what is the greater reality? Outside of those belief systems, there is a gigantic ocean of possibilities waiting for us to imagine and leap into. So this is the trait. This is what you are made of. So what we can learn to do to make this super practical now, when we walk into any situation, right, and this is a shamanic view that I tend to hold, we can walk into any situation as the hollow bone. So what this means is we walk into any relationship, we walk into any teacher-student understanding, we walk into any section of our healing journey as the hollow bone. We take out all of our belief systems on all the things that we think we know, and we receive what that moment wants to give us. So we remove expectations that place us unintentionally in a box of limitation, and we receive our highest potential as an open-ended intention. And this is what allows us to tap into this characteristic of the unified field of love that we are born from. And I don't know about you, but that's quite exciting. All right, beautiful beings. I'm just going to check on YouTube and over on LinkedIn. Thank you for popping in, everyone, in the lives. I see all the beautiful comments coming through Facebook as well. Thank you, Suzanne. Happy it resonated with you. I am going to do a part 2 to this chat if you're listening on the podcast. This is a conversation. There's more. There's more traits to come of this unified field of love. So I've done the first 12 and there's 25. So I'm going to do a part 2. So stay tuned with this, with the rest of this conversation. But before I leave you all today, I want to encourage something. Do not just listen to these words. If this has inspired you, if this has activated something in you, if it has brought up some more love, then take action. Please do not just believe these words that I'm expressing from my heart. Please go test them for yourself. Try something new. If you have extra thoughts, comments, and questions, you can leave them in the different places we went live today, or you can leave them in reviews over on Spotify and Apple. Remember, if this is the kind of work you're looking to do, this is what I do in my coaching and mentoring. So please reach out. But as always here on the show, I love you unconditionally. And I hope this brought you so much love and light from my heart to yours. And until next time, I'll see you again very soon. Bye, everyone.